Welcome to another episode of Like a Boss with me, Lauren. Today we are talking all about research because I know many of you probably have very big assignments looming on the horizon now that we are back from the mid-semester break. And 9 times out of 10, when you have a very big assignment, it also means you have a lot of research to do. And we research for a lot of different reasons when we're writing our assignments. We research to understand a lot more about the background. You know, what are we actually writing about? Maybe to fill in gaps in our own knowledge. We research so that we can know more about, what has actually been written about this topic and by whom and when and how that all kind of fits together. We also research to understand more about how our own positions and ideas and knowledge also fits into this kind of giant puzzle that is knowledge. Because research, whether you like it or not, is very likely to follow you for the life of your career, whether it's because you are, a teacher or, maybe because you're a medical professional or an engineer or a computer scientist or a business strategist or a policy analyst. You're probably going to need research skills. But because so much of how we frame our own, kind of understanding and knowledge and positions in relation to ideas relies on research and more importantly relies on, the quality of our research, it can often feel quite overwhelming as a process. And it's difficult to know, where to start and how to, use a lot of tricks to really make the most of the time that you spend researching. And so I sat down with Tim Ormsby, who's one of the fabulous and super friendly teaching and learning librarians here at the Central Library. And he talked all about his best research tips, a few hacks that he has for, using Google Scholar, for Find It Flinders and just Google generally. And so without any further ado, let's go over to Tim.
My name is Tim Ormsby. I'm a teaching and learning librarian here at Flinders University. And my job is to teach students information literacy. So that's how to find and use information effectively, mostly for assignments, but also for wider research. Okay, so the main steps in the research process, we first look at the research question and generally we'll do some background reading first, just to get an idea of what the question is actually asking you. So what's the topic about? Textbooks are fantastic for this because they're basically written to give background information. From there, once we've got a bit of an idea, we can start pulling out the subject words, the keywords from the question. So these are the words in the question that actually just describe the subject of the question. From there, we can start doing some quick searching in, say, Find It at Flinders or Google Scholar and start getting some key references from your search results. Then you may like to expand your search, so go beyond Find It at Flinders and then doing some searching in specific databases. These might give you like a broader range of results than you might not find otherwise. Once you start finding some results, it's actually quite important to evaluate your search. Just make sure that what you are looking at, so are your results on your topic? Are they like of an appropriate age? Are they too old? Are you getting enough, or are you not getting as many as what you thought? These might be signs that your search isn't quite as targeted as it could be. Once you start thinking that your search is okay, then you can actually start pulling out your results, getting the full text, and start looking at reading the articles themselves. The first thing I tend to do when I'm turning a question into search terms is to pick out the words in the question that describe the subject. So these are the keywords, and then I will write them down or put them into a Word document. And I'll do this for a couple of reasons. One is that I know that I'm going to be searching in different places. So not just like in one database, but several databases. And so I want to use the same search terms across those databases. And also the search terms you get out of your question are just your starting point. So when you do background reading, or even once you start reading some references, you're going to find other keywords to use. And so it's much easier to keep track of them if you write them all down. Both Google Scholar and Find are very useful search tools, and they're even more useful when you can use them together. So we always say that when you use Google Scholar, always go through the library website, because then Google Scholar will recognise you as a Flinders student, and then it'll link with Find It at Flinders, and we'll let you know what you have available to you for free as a Flinders student. So it'll give you a Find It at Flinders link next to each search result in Google Scholar, and you can click on that link. It'll do a search for that article in Find It at Flinders, and it'll let you know where else you can find the full text of that article. Otherwise, Google Scholar might just let you know what few PDFs are available for free, but you're missing out on an awful lot that the university has paid for access for you to access for free. Both Find It and Google Scholar have a cite function. So this is a quick and easy way for you to get your references. So you can click on that, you'll get the formatted reference that you can copy and paste into your assignment in a variety of different referencing styles. So you'll have like Chicago, APA, MLA. Always just double check that they are correct, because sometimes errors do creep in and you don't want to lose marks just because you didn't do some double checking. I think also that Find It and Google Scholar, you really just need to put in your keywords. Don't put in your whole question, because they will search for exactly every single word that you put in there. So that's why identifying your keywords from your question is so important. That way, you're much more likely to get back relevant results of really what you're looking for. And another way to make sure you get relevant results is to use the filters down the right-hand side on Find It, on the left-hand side on Google Scholar. In fact, most databases these days will have like filters somewhere on the screen, and they just allow you to narrow down your search results. So you can just narrow down to, say, just books or just peer-reviewed articles if that's what you're after. You can also narrow down by date range. So if you're just looking for literature written in the last, say, 10 years, you can do that very quickly, just so you can knock out all those results that are actually older than what you're looking for. And I think one of the most important things is take your time. Doing research is not going to be usually like a quick process. It is going to take a little bit of time, especially when you're first starting out. It might seem a bit complex, a bit daunting, but it's one of those things that the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it, and the easier and quicker your research is going to be. Scoping a search for us basically means doing some background reading as your first starting point for when you're doing your research, just to get an idea of your topic, and also gives you an idea of what sort of literature is out there. And this will really help save you time, because you'll have an idea of how to target your search better. So what to search for, where to search, and what types of information to search for. Google. How do you become better at Google? I think the first and most important thing is to be skeptical. Evaluate everything that Google brings back as a search result. So really question, what is the URL? Is it from a reputable organisation or government department, or from a university, for example? Who's the author? Are they qualified to speak on that subject? Can you find out more about them? So even just do another Google search on the author to find out, are they actually qualified? Who are they? Can you even find out who they are? Because sometimes, depending on what you're looking at, you might not have be able to find anything on them, and they might not even be who they say they are. A lot of students we find don't actually know this, but Google has an advanced search, and this is like really useful for narrowing down a Google search to just credible, more academic type of information. And you can do this because you can limit in advanced search by domain. So that's like the .org, .gov, .edu parts of the internet, rather than the .com, which generally tend to be more just general information. You can also, depending on the type of information you're looking for, you can also limit it to just PDF files, so only bring back PDF files. So this is really important if you're looking for, say, government reports or documents from the government, because this will just like knock out any just general websites. Oh, common mistakes and misconceptions. One is that like Google will find everything, and it does not. Google will only find the very 2-3% of all the world's information out there. Everything else is hidden behind paywalls and passwords. And that is where the vast majority of academic information lives, and this is the type of information that you actually need to use in your science at university. So that's why the university, the library actually pays for access to this information for you, so you don't have to. So it's often best to actually use Find at Flinders and or Google Scholar rather than just a plain Google search. Google can still be useful just to get some background information, but when it comes to actually finding academic information, then it's best to steer away from Google. I think the other misconception that a lot of students fall into is that it's going to be quick and easy to find information that is relevant and credible. And I think this largely comes by that up until university, Google has been their only source of searching. And look, we use Google every day in everyday life. It's easy to use, and until you've actually been exposed to another type of information, another type of searching, you don't actually realize the limitations of Google, because it looks like it can find everything. A lot of students think that searching for academic information is going to be as simple. And look, we as librarians, we really wish it was, but unfortunately it's just not that simple. So you do have to just think a bit more about what you're searching for, where you're searching, and what you're searching for. So we actually have a few topics in flow now to help you with your research. And if you need more help than that, you can always come to the library, either physically or virtually. So we also, as well as come to the information desk at your library branch, you can also catch us online. We've just launched a new chat feature, so you can chat to a librarian during office hours. And you can also phone us and email us. And if you need a bit more help with your research, if you have an in-depth question, you can also book an appointment to see a librarian.
So thank you to Tim, and good luck researching those major assessments, everyone. Next week, I'm going to be talking all about exam strategies. So what can you do to really make the most of the time that you have before you have exams in order to remember and retain as much information as you can? And the following week, Dr. Gareth's going to join us again to talk about how you can really train and tame your brain to help you focus during that revision and in the exams themselves as well. In the meantime, be sure to check out the library's flow resources. Remember, they have beginner and intermediate level flow courses that you can do if you really want to hone your research skills. And the Student Learning Support Service also has a range of resources that will help you to integrate that research once you've got it and really polish up those assignments. Otherwise, have a good week, everybody, and I'll see you soon.